All right. ETM Hotep, greetings, peace, welcome to the Sesh mdw-ntr YouTube channel. This is your brother Wujau Menib, and I want to say again, welcome, and I appreciate anyone who's tuned in to our live streams and our discussions and sessions. And so this discussion is entitled Appeal to Authority versus Defer to Authority, and what's the difference? So it's asking the question, what's the difference between the two? And so let me just frame up the conversation, and it should be a brief conversation. Hopefully you all will have some takeaways, and benefit from, the brief discussion. And I will be paying attention to the chat. All right. So if you have a question for me about anything that I say or whatever, feel free to type it into the chat. And if you can, if you highlight the Sesh mdw-ntr name with the @ symbol, that way your question will stand out. Or you can even use the super chat. We've activated super chat. We appreciate any contributions, donations, or whatever the case is. All right. So again, appeal to authority versus defer to authority. What's the difference? So the inspiration for me talking about this, I've actually spoke about this before, recently at that, but I'm doing it again on our channel to kind of just create an archive and for documentation purposes. And so the motivational inspiration behind having this discussion is because I've seen lately, for quite a while, but more so lately, where the appeal to authority logical fallacy is being confused with people deferring to authority, and people are thinking it's the same. And I see, a lot of that going on. So I just want to kind of go over what these two things are and to show the difference. All right. So hopefully, again, welcome everybody. I know, had a little short intro, wanted to give people a chance to tune in or chime in. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. And, make sure you support and spread the word about the channel, about subscribing. Make sure you subscribe and tick the bell so that you'll be notified. And I noticed, that as soon as we went live, that someone gave this video a thumbs down. And I just think that that's just very juvenile or childish or immature for people to do that. As soon as you go live, people hit the thumbs down. And they call it hating or whatever the case is. And I guess it is what it is, but it's just, it's not a good look on, for us collectively when people it's just real silly to me. But all right, so I want to say peace. So let me go ahead and just dive on in. Okay, so appeal to authority versus deferring to authority. And hopefully, you all who are tuned in now, you already know the difference. And just in case you do, because I'm not saying anything that's rocket science or anything that I made up or anything that's that I had to put a lot of research in, and I'm revealing it for the first time and introducing the world to this. This is something that is very, very common, that you can Google right now, even as I'm talking about it, and see everything that I'm saying. Okay, so this is nothing out of the ordinary or brilliant or anything, but I just wanted to talk about it because a lot of those things we take for granted. And so here we go. So appeal to authority versus defer to authority. So what's the difference? So let's define appealing to authority. So first up is that appeal to authority is a logical fallacy. Okay. And so I'm just going to read what I have on the screen here. Insisting that a claim is true simply because a valid authority or expert on the issue said it was true without any other supporting evidence offered. Now, I'm sure by even me reading this, you can go through the file folders of your mind, and I know you've come across these situations quite often online, especially on Facebook or in conversations on YouTube, etc., where people commit this logical fallacy. Okay, so again, insisting that a claim is true simply because a valid authority or expert on the issue said it was true without any other supporting evidence. All right. Now here's the logical form of the fallacy. So according to person one, who is an expert on the issue of Y is true. Therefore, Y is true. Okay. So here's an example. Richard Dawkins, an evolutionary biologist and perhaps the foremost expert in the field, says that evolution is true. Therefore, it's true. And here's the explanation. Richard Dawkins certainly knows about evolution, and he can confidently tell us that it's true, but that doesn't make it true. What makes it true is the preponderance of evidence for the theory. Okay, and so we have to remember this. So appealing to authority, just to kind of sum it up and put it more in layman's terms, is when you're arguing a position and to support the truthfulness or the accuracy of your position, you are appealing or you're using an expert or an authority. So you cite an authority, and because the authority you cite says X is true, therefore your claim is true. That is a classic case of appeal to authority, logical fallacy. Okay, so hopefully we're clear on that, and we see it all the time. Now, deferring to authority. So what's that and what's the difference? So deferring to authority in general, deferring to an authority is when one allows someone to think for them due to a lack of knowledge, expertise, or study on a given issue. It's an admission of incompetency or lack of proficiency on a given issue or topic. We defer to the expertise of doctors, lawyers, and others every day, all day. So deferring to authority is not a logical fallacy, and it's not, and it's something that we all do. So what's the difference now? So the difference is when you appeal to authority, you are citing or quoting or appealing to an authority or an expert on something to support the truthfulness of your argument. So you're arguing, you're debating, you're making a claim. And because you can find somebody who makes the same claim as you, that means your claim is true. So appealing to authority is a logical fallacy. It's an error of reasoning. Okay? And deferring to authority, you're not arguing. You're actually admitting that you don't know enough. And because you don't know enough, you have to defer to an authority. And you're not deferring to the authority to speak to the truthfulness of what you're saying. It's more of an admission to the person that you're speaking to. If you're having a conversation with someone and something comes up that you have little knowledge of or no knowledge of, you have to defer to an authority, and it's full disclosure to the person. You're not arguing the truthfulness. You're just saying, well, hey, I don't know much about it, but according to so-and-so, this is what they say. And that's that. You're not arguing the truthfulness of a claim. Okay, so that's the difference. And people have to see that difference. Although they seem similar, they're different. Okay, so make sure you understand, and hopefully that's understood. So again, I'm monitoring the chat, and before I move on, if anybody has a comment or a question for me about what I just said, then feel free to type it in the chat. All right, and I know there's a delay, so I'm gonna move on to the next example. So that's the difference between appeal to authority and deferring to authority. So we want to stay away from appealing to authority. That's the no. That's the red zone. We want to stay away from that. Deferring to authority is perfectly normal and it's perfectly fine. We do it all the time. Okay, that's the difference. Deferring to authority, green, good to go. Appealing to authority and when you're arguing and things like that, that's a logical fallacy and error in reasoning. Stay away from it and recognize it when other people do it. Okay, and make sure you point that out. All right, make sure you correct that. Okay, so moving along. Now here's two more things that are confused in our engagements on social media, YouTube, Facebook, and so on and so forth. Here are two more things that are misconstrued or misunderstood. And that is ad hominem, logical fallacy, versus insults. Okay, a lot of people confuse these two. They think they're the same. And that's not the case. Okay, so ad hominem versus insults or insulting someone. So what are they and what's the difference? So ad hominem. Ad hominem refers to an argument style. It is an attempt to invalidate a claim, statement, or argument because of some personal characteristic of the person making the claim. It does not need to be insulting, although it often is. For example, saying something like, "You would not say that if you were not so tired," is as much an ad hominem argument as saying only an idiot would say something like that. Ad hominem arguments can be patronizing or condescending instead of explicitly insulting, so long as the desired result, which is to invalidate an opposing argument, is achieved. Okay, so to kind of summarize that, an ad hominem logical fallacy is when during an argument, during a debate, you are arguing against someone and you're trying to discredit their claim or refute their claim by attacking them, attacking the personal characteristic or some other thing dealing with the person making the claim. And so you're trying to say that their claim is invalid or not true or wrong or in error because of what you're saying about the person. That is an ad hominem logical fallacy. All right. And as we just read, it can be insulting, but it doesn't have to be. Okay. You can talk about, you can say something that is actually a compliment and it'll still be an ad hominem logical fallacy. So keep that in mind. All right. So now, insult. This is real brief. An insult is just an insult. An insult doesn't by itself aim to invalidate or refute a claim or argument. It just puts someone down. Okay. So insulting someone in and of itself is just to basically put someone down, to damage someone in some form of way verbally, to commit verbal damage to someone or whatever the case is. But you're not doing it to refute their claim. You're not saying, like, let's say we insult someone. Let's just make something simple. You're fat. Insulting someone by their appearance, saying, you're ugly, you're fat and ugly, does not in and of itself constitute a logical fallacy at all, because you're not saying it to invalidate or refute a claim. So the difference is, if I say, hey, your statement or your claim is wrong because you're fat and ugly, like you're wrong about the earth not being flat or being some spherical shape because you're fat and ugly. You're fat and ugly, therefore your claim about the earth is wrong. That's an ad hominem attack, and it's also an insulting one. Okay, so hopefully you all get that. But an insult is just an insult. And so what happens, what I see on Facebook and stuff, and I hear it on YouTube, is that people will use the word ad hominem when they're being insulted. Instead of just saying, you're insulting me, you're like, what's up with the ad hominem attacks? Ad hominem attacks, so we have to understand the difference. And basically between the two, and these are only two examples that I'm sharing, basically between these two examples, notice that the difference between this one, which is ad hominem versus insults, and appeal to authority versus defer to authority, one deals with situations when you're arguing, and the other one doesn't. That's a big key difference. So that makes it easy to remember the difference. You can only appeal to authority as a logical fallacy when you're arguing. When I say arguing, I'm not talking about the lay definition of arguing where you're just, whatever. I'm talking about when you're actually advancing a claim or a statement and you're engaging in a debate or argument. All right. And likewise with ad hominem attacks or ad hominem logical fallacies. Okay. Those can only occur when you're arguing, when you're in a situation of arguing or debating, etc. Outside of that, you can insult somebody, but you're not trying to discredit or refute a claim. And deferring to authority, as I'm showing on the screen, we do it all day, every day. And there's nothing wrong with it, because all you're doing is embracing your own weakness in terms of lack of understanding or lack of knowledge in a topic. You say, well, wait a minute, I don't know enough, so I have to defer to the experts. That's it. And we do it all the time. We do it with doctors, auto mechanics. Like I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who may have problems with your car, and then you go to the mechanic, and you got to get they got to hook it up to the computer and try to diagnose what's wrong with your car, because you don't know. You don't have the equipment to know, or you just don't know. And because you don't know, you have to defer to the expert. And which means you have to rely on the expert. That's not a logical fallacy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, in addition to that, what some of us do is we don't really like to stay in that dependency position of deferring to the experts all the time. So we try to change the situation by learning the particular topic. So if I don't want to depend on a mechanic, out of my own ignorance and everything, then I better pick up an auto mechanic book, or, get trained in my make and model of my car and figure out how it works myself. That way I don't have to defer to the experts as much or at all if I become competent and proficient in doing that. Same thing with information. Same thing with information. The more you study and apply rigor in your study of a topic and subject, the less you will need to defer to an authority. All right. And you definitely should stay away from appealing to authority. All right. So I just want everybody to understand the difference there. And, like I said, I don't have a long list of examples. Those are just two examples recently that I've seen a lot lately. And I just wanted to cover that so that everybody's clear on the difference. All right. Now, I recently was accused of appealing to authority, even in the midst of me explaining the difference between appealing to authority and deferring to authority, which was amazing to me, that a person would actually accuse me of appealing to authority as I'm explaining it. That was crazy. That was funny. But it was crazy at the same time. So I just want to make sure we're clear on it and we can use these terms and apply them properly. A lot of people are using terms way out of context and just wrong. And that's a problem in our communities as well. People are trying to sound heavy and use big words, as they say, or words that are not very common, to make themselves appear to be more intelligent than they are, but they're really misusing and misapplying these words, all out of context, and even not even using them correctly within the context, as far as grammatically and within the syntax of conversations and sentences and things. So just be careful out there and take heed. So anyway, I'm checking out the chat. So, like I said, I like to engage. any audience that, you know, I'm a part of, whatever the case is. So if anybody who's watching now, first of all, I appreciate it. Shout out to everybody. But if you have any questions or comments, good, bad to ugly, I take them all. So if you have any questions and everything for me right now, I know there's a delay, so I'm going to be a little patient, just wait. And if not, you know, I'll start to shut it down. But if anybody have any questions about anything, and I'm just gonna keep on talking. You know, y'all know me. I'm definitely a talker. So just keep it in mind. So hopefully everybody understood. And matter of fact, do this. I mean, this is not rocket science. Like I said, nothing that I just printed in here is something that you can't Google right now. Google appeal to authority. Matter of fact, just Google appeal to authority versus defer to authority. Just Google that. You'll find some hits on that. Google insult versus ad hominem. You'll find some results for that. And just read it. Read it for yourself. This is not from me. Wujao did not make this up or any of that. I'm just sharing it with you all and highlighting it. So Don Williams says, do you want to stay away from appealing even though you're versed on the topic? Well, yes, appealing to authority is a logical fallacy. Okay? So you want to stay away from that you know, all the time as best you can, period. Don't do that. That's a logical fallacy and an error in reasoning. And if you were in a formal debate where it's judged and stuff, you would get points taken away or you would just lose the argument. Hands down, period. You know, just for doing that. All right. And see, in school and college, I was part of a debate team, amateur level debate teams, and we had to memorize all the logical fallacies. We had to be able to memorize them. We had to be able to recognize them, and we had to be able to recognize them when other people did it, and we had to be able to avoid doing them ourselves. Okay, and so now, you know, I'm not saying that everybody has to memorize them all or anything, but before you start to use these words like ad hominem and appeal to authority and stuff, you know, at least know what you're saying and what it is and everything like that. All right. So yeah, stay away from appealing to authority. Now, deferring to authority, that's fine. Even if you're an expert in the field, deferring to a colleague who would be another expert, sometimes people do that, but that's not really called deferring. See, deferring gives the notion that you have to do it out of a lack of something. Okay, to defer, like you may, and it may not even be knowledge based reason. It may be a ranking reason. So let me explain what I mean. You may be just an employee at a company, and then somebody comes into the company with a complaint, and that complaint is outside of your job duties, your responsibility. So you have to get answers by deferring to your boss or your employer or manager or whatever the case is. It's not because you don't know, but it's because you don't have the rank. So I want to make that clear. Deferring may not always mean or relate to knowledge. It may relate to just the capacity to do something. Okay, so hopefully that's clear, and hopefully I answered the question. All right, so deferring to authority or to deferring to experts may be because of those reasons as well, and that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Appealing to authority is the one you want to stay away from. That's the one on top. You know, matter of fact, if I could paint it red, you know, I would paint it red. Matter of fact, let me change this. I'm gonna make it easy. This is the one you want to stay away from. All right, you want to stay away from this one. Appeal to authority is red. All right, stay away from that one. So let me see. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, Amber Evans, Hotep. I hope a certain someone listening. I distinctly remember having a disagreement with them on using the appeal to authority out of context. Yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. That's why. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm going over this. Law Genius. Excuse me. Law Genesis. Could you address straw man fallacy? Okay, sure. Straw man fallacy is basically, if we want to summarize it, a straw man fallacy is, again, it's a logical fallacy and it's an error of reasoning as well. What it is basically when somebody takes your claim, for example, you make a claim, and then I come along and take your claim and mischaracterize it. And then based on my mischaracterization of your claim, I start to argue against that. But I'm not effectively arguing against your claim. I'm actually arguing against my mischaracterization of your claim. And so now my argument of a mischaracterization of your claim becomes a straw man. And so that's the essence of what a straw man argument is, or straw man logical fallacy. And again, if you were in a formal debate that was judged and whatnot, you would lose. Points would be taken off, or you would lose the argument. All right. That's essentially what a straw man argument is. And that happens all the time. All the time. People misconstrue people's arguments. And mind you, now here's the motivation behind it. Now, sometimes people do it accidentally because they misunderstand. Okay. So I don't want to make it seem like it's malicious all the time. Some people will genuinely misunderstand your claim, and then, they'll try to argue against that misunderstanding. Okay. So that's correctable. You can correct them, and that's good. But some people intentionally do it because they want to give the appearance that they're actually winning the argument, or they're refuting you. So they will change your argument up. And see, on the streets or in the so-called conscious community, people call it moving the goalposts. In reverse, they'll say, you're moving the goalposts. You're moving the goalposts. You're changing. So that has to be avoided. Both. Even if it's unintentional, at least it could be corrected. Because I could just misunderstand you. You're making a claim of something, and then I just miscomprehend, I misunderstand you, and then I'm offering a counterclaim, or I'm trying to refute it, and I'm off. And later you can correct me, say, well, wait a minute, brother, that's not what I said. That's not my argument. And then I would therefore have to say, okay, well, clarify for me. Can you restate your argument? My bad. And then, we move forward. All right. So that's the difference. So hopefully I answered that question about straw man logical fallacy. So let's see. Refer to authority if your verse, not defer. Oh, right. If I understand what you're saying, Niwasara, everybody refer. Now listen. Specialists and experts refer to other authorities all the time. So that's I'm glad you brought up that word. Referring to an authority is different than deferring to an authority. Okay. I know the words rhyme or whatever, but they're different. And you can look at the back of any scholarly work and see works cited, or a section on references, or a section on bibliography and everything, where scholars will always refer to other experts and scholars. Okay, that happens all the time. That's, people cite each other all the time. That's different. Deferring to someone implies that you're incompetent, or you're not proficient enough in a particular issue. Okay, that's the difference. It seems like a slight little thing, but it's different. All right, Mika says, stay away from appeal to authority. Do not do that go for everyone. Yeah. You should always stay. It's an error in logic. And remember, argumentation. See, listen, Debating falls under argumentation theory, and that's governed by logic. This is why you have things such as premises, faulty premises, valid arguments, invalid arguments, valid conclusions, invalid conclusions, false conclusions, all those kinds of things. It comes from argumentation theory, which is governed by logic. Oh, everybody should stay away from logical fallacies. It doesn't help the conversation. It doesn't help promote knowledge. Okay? Debating is a valuable tool. Debating in and of itself is the hammering out, the beating down, or not beating down, but the beating of an issue to expose its guts in order to get to the core of it, to advance knowledge. That's what debate. The word debate actually means to beat down, to beat something. All right, and that's a very valuable tool in expanding our body of knowledge. All right, so let me keep going. Sister Safa, I'm a nurse and a healthcare instructor. Many times students ask me medical or diagnosis type questions, and I tell them I'm not a doctor. Is that proper understanding of deferring to authority? Okay, I'm a nurse. Well, only if you're doing it to convey to them that you're not versed enough or competent enough or proficient in that subject, and you're letting them know, like, hey, I'll defer you, or I'll defer to someone else. I'll defer to someone else and bring some information back to you, or I'll defer you to someone else. So that's the difference. But now if you just referring, like I said, referring and deferring are different. And that's definitely not appealing to authority if you did that. Okay, Amber says, folks hear words and start using them, perpetrate the fraud, and actually knowing what they're talking about. Exactly. I see it all the time. And it's certain people that stick out, that do it all the time. And what's funny? If any of y'all used to watch In Living Color, okay? In Living Color, if you never watch In Living Color, I don't know where you've been. I don't know what planet you're from. But there's a character on In Living Color, or that was on In Living Color. I think his name was Gerald Oswald or something like that. Oswald. And it was one of the Wayans brothers. You got Keenan. What's the other Wayans brother? I forgot the other Wayans brother's name. But anyway, the skinnier one, the taller, skinnier Wayans brothers. But he used to play that part, and he would be in jail, and he's using all these big words and stuff, all out of place and out of context, and with the wrong meanings and stuff. That right there, that's actually what goes on in these circles. We see that a lot. People using words all out of context, all wrong, and they swear they saying something. Let's see. Anything else? Amber says, arguing against an argument you've never really made. Yeah, that's a straw man. Let's see. Anything else? Amber says they were about to have a whole debate behind it. It's been postponed. Oh, an argument. Oh, well, that was a whole straw man. Yeah. Some people will write a whole article. Some people spend a lot of time developing a straw man argument. To me, that's insane. Now, I granted, like I said, some people do it innocently because, I can make a claim right now and one of you all may misunderstand me. And then I go offline, and then you type up a long email to correct or refute what you felt I claimed when I really didn't do it. And then I get it, and I'm like, well, wait a minute now. You got this 14-page email, and then I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, do you understand I never said that? That's not what I'm claiming. Oh, and I will give you an example, because like said, I like to give examples, and I don't do the innuendo. I name names. So, for example, a recent example of a straw man argument is Chief X, the brother Chief X. You all may know Chief X. Chief X claims that Asar Imhotep made a claim that Asar Imhotep never did. And then Chief X proceeds to argue against a claim that Asar never made. And so specifically, Chief X said that Asar claims that the Afro-Asiatic language is really the Negro Egyptian language. And Asar never, ever made that claim. Nowhere, ever. And the claim doesn't even make sense if you know the field, if that's the kind of work you do, that doesn't even make sense. So that's a straw man argument right there. All right. I mean, Chief X is cool and everything, so I'm only using him as example. So for y'all who will run and post on his Facebook page, go ahead and do what you got to do. Let's see, anything else? I'm just scrolling the comments real quick. And let's see, going down. Okay, so Emiket says, so if person X makes the statement that scholar A claims Afro-Asiatic language is really Negro Egyptian, is person X committing a strawman fallacy? Yeah, you just gave the example I just gave. That's exactly right. Let's see. Yeah, Damon Wayans. That's it. Oswald Bates. There you go. Appreciate that, watcher. Oswald Bates. Yeah, they got a couple of skits, so check it out if you don't know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Robert Rand says yes, especially Haskell. 45 happens all the time. Comprehension issues and want to make it your fault. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, he's quoting. That is a very vaginalistic clarification in my ratification, in my jurisdiction of my adjudication, when the Earth passes the Moon at 23.3 degrees axis off its axis in conjunction with the North Pole, Polaris, with the 3 stars of Orion, through the nebula of the black hole, which is really the Anualcur hole. Pardon my soiling of my pants. Then he started talking. But anyway, let me stop imitating that. But anyway, check it out. So, are there any more questions or anything from anybody in the chat? Hopefully y'all understand. I mean, this is simple. This is simple, and these things are being abused all the time. So, I do this kind of stuff, these little short tidbits, because, my whole thing is to educate, to edify, and to kill the noise, and really promote the expansion and progress of knowledge. Because we got to catch up on knowledge, because knowing stuff is not going to cut it. We got to know how to apply it. And that's wisdom. We're not even at the knowledge point yet. We gotta collect this data, collect accurate knowledge, and then learn how to apply it. So if we can't even get to the point where we're collecting data properly, we're never gonna get to the point of applying it. And we're just gonna be just out there. So that's what I'm about. I'm not about that noise stuff. Every now and then, the HOK circus community will come around, and pitch their tent around my block, and I may chime in to kill some noise, but I'm not for that. I don't condone it. I don't enable it. I don't support it. I don't support that adversarial, combative, immature fussing and fighting that people like to call debating or whatever the case is. That's makes no sense to me at all. And I come from that background where it's, I see it for what it is. So anyway, but there's no more question. Oh, Amber says, was that played by Alan Greer? No, it was played by Damon Wayans. Let's see. Robert Rand, he's not cool. He's an a-hole. He's deliberately misinterpreting. Sorry. Okay. Well, You said, oh, you responded to me saying Chief X is cool. Nah, I mean Chief X. I met Chief X. One time, he came to Atlanta for I forget what event. I think it was the awards that the conscious community had. I had a chance to meet him and everything like that. He's cool, but people jump out the window with no parachute, and I told Chief X, I said, listen, on this one, you jumped out of a 30-story apartment building with no parachute. You just jumped out there with that one, man. So anyway, let's see. Anything else? Nothing. When are you going to do the Gods of Atheism? Okay, yeah, about that. We're going to have a show on the Gods of Atheism. We were supposed to actually have it the other day, and then we moved it to today, but because of the people being affected, not infected, but affected by the coronavirus outbreak and the latest updates and the news and stuff like that, myself, the brother Sanjeti, the brother Asar Motep, and our times kind of got out of sync, so we're not able to do it. But we're gonna still do it. So be on the lookout for it. We're gonna still have a discussion on the Gods of Atheism. All right, and bring your pen and pad. Bring your pen and pad. It's not that hoorah, rah, attack, shoot them up, beat them down, boxing match type of thing. It's we're gonna share some things to help the conversations about this whole ideal called atheism. So it's called the Gods of Atheism. So it's interesting. So make sure you bring your pens and pads and your questions. All right. So let's see. Anything else? I guess that's not it. All right. So remember, you're tuned in to the Sesh mdw-ntr YouTube channel, and we get down all things Egyptian writing system, which we call Sesh mdw-ntr, and all things Egyptian language, which was known as Rani Kemet. We have Freestyle Fridays, Divine Words Wednesdays, and we have Welcome to the Sabaeed Dome, where we put in check all the false claims, at least that we have time to cover, in relationship to the language and the culture of ancient Egypt. All right. So if you have any questions about any of that, inbox, email any member of the Seshu. And by the way, I am starting a new beginners class group. Matter of fact, let me put this on the screen so you all will know what's going on. I'm starting a new class group this week. I know everybody. See, I was going to start it actually Sunday, tomorrow, but the outbreak and the announcements and the adjustments people have to make, schools closing, stuff like that. I decided to hold off a bit, give people a chance to get acclimated to whatever's going on in the news, But I'm starting a new class group for the beginner's introduction. Excuse me, let me put this on the screen. Beginner's Introduction to Egyptian Hieroglyphic is the name of the course. All you do is go to, if you're interested or you know somebody who's interested, go to sableuniversity.com. That's where the courses are held. The name of the course is the Beginner Introduction to Egyptian Hieroglyphic, and you see the glyphs right there, Sesh Netcher. But most people won't recognize Sesh Netcher, so this is why it's called Egyptian Hieroglyphic. It's only $100 if you don't have the textbook. If you have the textbook. If you don't have the textbook, it's $130. You can't beat that anywhere. It's 12 weeks, but it's designed as a self-paced study course, meaning you learn at your own chapter by chapter, and every chapter ends with a quiz. You have to pass the quiz, and I'm not sure what's going on with my connection before, I don't know, it might get cut off here, but I'm not sure what's going on. I think my connection. Again, I appreciate it, and I will see you all next time. So make sure make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Wujao. All right. And I'm still seeing the comments. It's saying the coronavirus has got my internet and everything is buffering. Yeah, I'm not sure what is going on. Up, I might be back up. It looks like it's back in the green. If y'all can hear me now, somebody let me know if you can hear me. Somebody let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me. All right. I'm not sure where I got cut off, but let me just repeat this. So again, I'm starting a new beginners class group, and it basically is designed as a self-paced study course where you learn at your own pace. You go through the lessons at your own pace. But what I do is once a week for 12 weeks, I schedule live sessions where I walk through the chapter in a sequential order, answering any and all questions chapter by chapter. And there's quizzes at the end of the chapter. There's a final exam and essay that you have to do. If you pass everything, improve yourself to be competent and have proficiency, then you'll be certified or receive a certificate. All right. So that's basically how I have everything set up. But the good thing is that you can go at your own pace. So if you have time on your hands, and like right now, if your job has switched you over to home, you can work from home and you got time. Hey, this is the perfect time to do this. Okay. So again, go to sableuniversity.com, register, sign up. If you got any questions, you can inbox me on Facebook or email me wujao@gmail.com or info@sableuniversity.com. Either way. All right. So I think that buffering is a clue for me to shut my mouth and close this down. So I appreciate everybody tuned in, and look out for more live streams and everything. And let me know what you all are talking about. Let me know, if you want me to discuss something about the language or the culture and everything. And check out our archives here. All right. But again, I hope you all now know, if you didn't know, now you know the difference between appealing to authority, deferring to authority, ad hominems, and insults. Okay. So by now, everybody should be on the same page. All right. I guess there's nothing else. Last minute. Any questions? Speak now. Forever hold your peace. Forever hold your peace. I'm going to wait. I know there's a delay. I'm going to wait a little bit. See if anybody can pull a question out the sky real quick. Let's see. And while I'm waiting, I'm just going to show you all this picture here. This is a picture of our pyramidal curriculum. I've explained it thoroughly in a video that's in our archives, so make sure you search that out to get the full explanation of it. But I'm just going to show it to you here, and you could pretty much make sense of it. This is a curriculum now. So we have 3 levels, level 1, 2, and 3, starting at the bottom. Each level has 3 stages, and the summary of the information that's covered within each stage of each level is on the screen. All right. This is a actual curriculum we follow, and we take it serious. So this is not some, fly by night, okay, I just want to be nosy type of thing. This is like serious study, all right, with a purpose. As you see, as the higher you go, the more you get to the point of either you executing something, utilizing something, or applying something. But all right, I don't see any more questions or anything. So I'm going to say Shimim Hotep. Let's see. Amber says somebody making an expose about this live right now. Really? That's weird. I guess that's good though. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's in alignment with what I'm saying or trying to refute it, but more than likely, knowing this kind of community that we deal with, is probably has to do something in opposition, which to me is crazy. But yeah, I don't know how anybody can refute what I'm saying. You can look it up. Matter of fact, I could have, instead of typed it on these slides, I could have just looked these things up live with y'all so y'all could read it with me and I with you and everything. It's just absolutely crazy. At these times, these desperate times, I don't know. People are looking for attention. Sometimes people are called attention whores, where they're screaming, kicking and screaming for attention. But anyway, all right. So I will say peace to everybody, and may go live again later, or somebody else may go live on a topic that piques my interest, and I'll chime in. I have these cameo appearances on other platforms and stuff like that. And also make sure you subscribe to my channel, Wujao, my own channel, because I'm gonna start going live on my own channel on various topics. On this channel, I limit the focus on Egypt, on ancient Egypt, the language and the culture. But on my own channel, I'll have those kind of discussions, but I'll be able to broaden it out, talk about politics, talk about different scientific fields, the so-called conscious community itself, all that kind of stuff. So I'll be able to spread out on my own channel. So subscribe to it. Just look for my name. I'm the only person with this name. All right. But I'm gonna say peace and Shem Hotep. Make sure y'all stay safe. Make sure y'all keep up to date with some reliable, credible information about this coronavirus outbreak and pandemic and everything like that. And I'll see y'all next time. So peace.